Hello, welcome to Pecan Corner. I'm Tina, and today I'm going to make a crisp bread, a German recipe for a crisp bread, and it uses only nuts and seeds. This is a recipe that a lady on a forum gave to me. She's in Germany, and it's something that she mentioned it because it was something that a friend of hers requested for a gift, requested as a birthday gift or a Christmas gift, and so she was nice enough to share the recipe with me. It's called wassa bread, or crisp bread, and it's really easy to make, and it makes a cracker type, delicious cracker type bread. So we're going to do this up today. Use my clear bowl here where you guys can see it as things go into it. Let's pull everything out of it. We're going to measure our ounces. We want to have, at the end of it, we want to have 10.5 ounces of different seeds. So we're going to start with our now I'm adding some of my own things to it because we use what we have on hand, right? I always have lots of seeds and nuts on hand. I have lots of pecans always, since we have pecan trees. So I like to be able to use those. I am going to use this, my little chopper. If I can get it out here, there we go. Push it out, there we go. There we go. I'm going to use my little chopper to chop these up with. I have another thing to chop with that I would prefer to use, but I have to find it. So let me get this in here. Right, there we go. Lock it in place. Okay, now then. Got my hair covered too, because I've got to where I'm losing hair. Let's see if this works. I can't find my little chopper. I don't know what I've done with it. This is the thing I couldn't find the other day. When I said that Paul had gotten me one, but I couldn't find it. I was chopping onions. No, it's not doing too good, is it? Alright, I guess we're not going to be able to use that. So we're going to chop these all by hand. That's fine too. That's alright. It's easy to do. We can get it apart. There we go. Some days are easier for me to do things than others. And today you're getting a little look at at how things happen, usually behind the scenes, because I get a little bit klutzy. And Paul sees it, but he doesn't tell on me. So I have to tell him myself. There we go. Okay, I'll get the rest of those out later when I clean that up. Alright, so we're just going to chop these with a regular knife, and that's easy enough too. You don't have to have anything fancy. And truth is, if you don't have room in your kitchen for extra stuff, I mean, that's part of it too. You don't want to spend money on extra utensils that you don't need, but you just don't want to have to store them. It just gets ridiculous sometimes. So I'm just going to use my regular big knife. Move things around where you can kind of see. There we go. Can you see what I'm doing here? Let's see. Get all these things out of the way. Got too much stuff all over here. I just pulled out all the seeds that I had in my counter, in my cabinet. And this is another thing. If you're wanting to think about preparedness, think about if you have your own place, plant nut trees. Find out which nut trees are native to your area or to do the best there. And try to find room for a couple of them. They don't make the same crop every year. Like pecans, just kind of, we'll have a boomer crop one year, and then we might have 2 or 3 years go by before we have another great big crop again. Might have some years that we don't have any, but you always will have nuts on hand. If I gathered 50 pounds of nuts this year, and because Paul was sick, I didn't get to harvest the rest of my nuts, and so I offered them to other people, and some of them are still just out there on the ground. I just couldn't get to them. But that 50 pounds in my freezer, you know, works out to about 20 pounds frozen, and that'll last us for 2 or 3 years for all the nuts that I need to use. This right here is 2 ounces of pecans, and then I've got about an ounce of almonds, slivered almonds, just because I had them. The recipe doesn't call for those, but I'm just going to chop them up. I wanted to use the almonds in a different recipe, which I'm going to make after I finish this one, just for fun. Have you ever read a book that had recipe in it? I mean, like a novel, and in my case, I'm thinking mystery novels. I have a set of mystery novels, a couple of them that I like a lot, and in one of them, the lady makes up some cookies and uses it to talk the newspaper into publishing something for her. And so I thought, well, I would make those up, and I think my dad will like those. I'm going to go over this afternoon and see if they've got more eggs, because we're about to run out. So far, eggs, the only thing we're out of. We still have, we don't have fresh milk, but we have, I still have canned milk and canned table cream, and I have powdered fresh milk, you know, and non-fat milk, and also have powdered buttermilk that my mother sent me. And that powdered buttermilk is great for cooking with. And so I made Paul some muffins this morning and was able to use that. And she had sent me that a year or two ago because I had written her and I had said something about not having buttermilk in the refrigerator when I wanted to make something, and she sent me that. She said that's what she keeps around, since she won't use up a whole carton of buttermilk, you know, before it spoils. So, all right, so there's that. Now then, let's turn our okay, got our scale turned on here, so we're go. All right, now then. Okay, so there's 3 ounces. Now then, I want to add some flaxseed meal. I could use flax seeds too, but I'm going to add the meal. I'm going to try a 1/4 cup of it. That may be too much. Maybe I only want a couple of tablespoons. Yeah, that's not even an ounce. Yeah, I think that 2 tablespoons is going to be plenty of that. Chia seeds. You can make this. I'm going to put a little dab of flour in it. It calls for 2 tablespoons of flour. But you can make this with no flour if you use chia seeds. Chia seeds will really help hold it together, and the flax seeds will too. Okay, I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of flax seeds here. I mean, of chia seeds here. Okay, that's brought me up to 4 3/4 ounces. I'm going to need 10 1/2 ounces of seeds before this is over. Let's see how much a 1/4 cup of sesame seeds is. Okay, there's 5 7/8. Let me get up to 6 ounces with the sesame seeds here. There we go. Okay. All right, now then, do sunflower seeds. I'm just giving the sunflower seeds just a very light chop, because I like this better if there's a little fewer whole things in it. But I don't want them ground, you know. I don't mind people knowing that it's sunflower seeds in it. Okay. And let's see what we've got here. 7 3/4 ounces. Okay, there's 8 ounces of those. I may put more sunflower seeds after I get done with the pumpkin seeds here. Pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds both are an old standby, just like pecans are, for native peoples in the United States, in Americas, in the American continent. And unfortunately, we have vine borers here, so I can't do well with pumpkins, and because the insects kill the vines. But I've gotten some new kinds of seeds. They're not new seeds, but it's a family of pumpkins that are supposed to be resistant to vine borers that I'm going to try this year. So hopefully I'll be able to grow some winter squash successfully. As you can see, it's really easy to just chop our nuts. You know, they kind of fling everywhere when you don't have a chopper, but really it doesn't take much time or effort. And just hold that one end of your knife in place and chop. Got them all over the counter here. That was 9 ounces, not quite 9 ounces. 8 7/8. I'm going to put a little bit more of these. Another couple of ounces of the sunflower seeds. And then if I need any more, I'll add some more pecans. I've got my oven preheated to 390 degrees. The reason that's such an odd amount is because the lady who gave me the recipe, they work of course, on the metric system in Europe, and so she made the conversion. And so the recipe that she was using was designed for a metric. So when it was converted, it converted to 390 Fahrenheit. Okay, all right, now just a few more, maybe another half ounce of pecans here. Let's put those there. There we go. These are native pecans. The native pecans are a lot smaller than the various varietals, but boy, they are sweeter, they're more flavorful, they have more higher oil content. And my native pecan tree is the best producer. It produces a lot more pecans. Of course, it's older, and pecans trees produce more the older they get. Those that are 100 years old, 150 years old, are just produced like gangbusters. But pecan trees will produce when they're young too, so don't let that make you think that you can't plant pecan trees and start getting fruit off of, nuts off of them. Okay, there we go. There's 10 ounces of seeds. Let me clean up around myself here, and then I'll come back and finish. Okay, now got all my nuts in there, and I had forgotten to put my cashews in, so I added some cashews. So I'm going to have be a little bit nut heavy in this version of it. All right, we want 2 tablespoons of regular flour, and if you want to make this gluten-free, you can use almond flour if you want to, or just none since you have the chia seeds in there. I'm going to add a little dab more since I have a little bit extra nuts. Not too many. I want a teaspoon of salt. Just a sprinkle of black pepper, and that's to your taste. If you want, you can add some red pepper flakes too. I don't, so I'm not going to use that in this, but if you want to, you can. I want 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. The dry kind, or you can use the regular grated Parmesan if you want to. I'm going to add a little dab more since I got a little bit more nuts. There we go. All right, where's my... Stir stir this all up together. I've got some water heating on the stove. I'm going to add 1.5 cups of hot water. Let me get my measure. There's 1 cup. Need another 1/2 cup. Get that warming while I'm mixing this one up. 1 cup might be enough. We'll see. Seems like it's doing pretty good with just the 1 cup. Oh, my oil. Need 3 tablespoons of your favorite oil. I'm going to use extra virgin olive oil, but you can use whatever your favorite is. There we go. Alrighty. Yeah, that's going to be plenty of water. I don't need the extra water. Just depends on your particular nuts and seeds and how well ground they are, how much water they'll absorb. I think though I do want a few pepper flakes in it, maybe. Paul and I were talking about that today, and they're not as much of a problem for me as some things are. I'm just going to put a few though. I don't want too many of the seeds. Let me pull out some of those seeds and just do the flakes. There we go. There we go. Okay, now then, that's stirred up real good. It's got everything in it. I didn't forget anything. 10.5 ounces of seeds, and I've probably got about 12 ounces of seeds in there. 2 tablespoons of flour, 3 tablespoons of oil, 2 tablespoons of Parmesan, a teaspoon of salt, a sprinkle of pepper, and a cup. This time I just used a cup of hot water. Okay, now then. I'm going to put half of it on my cookie sheet and see if I want it to get very, very thin. I'm going to pat it out super, super thin. You can use you can put some paper over it and just mash it out, you know, rather than, another thing you can do. Let me see, let me try this. I kept this bottle because I use it when I'm making sauerkraut. I set it down in my jars. It fits just perfectly right inside one of my jars. So I'm going to see if I can use it to roll this out with. Yeah, it's kind of sticking to it, isn't it? Yeah, we won't do that. Yeah, that's not necessarily a good thing. I guess you would have to oil it before you could use a glass to do this with, or a wine bottle to do this with. But I think with my hands it's gonna pat out just fine. In fact, I think I've got plenty of room. This is a bigger sheet than most people have. This is a restaurant size pan, a half sheet pan is what it's called, or a 1/4 sheet pan. So I think I can fit all of this into here together. There we go. Right now, let me oil my hands before I get further with this, and we'll see how this does. There we go. Kind of hate getting my hands messy, but you know how that goes. Sometimes we just have to. Okay, there we go. There we go. edges. The chia seeds give off a good kind of a I want to say, what do I want to say, like a mucilaginous moisture that will do a good job of helping to hold these together, as will the flour. That's what you put the flour in there for. There we go. You can make keto crackers out of pure just chia seeds and water. Just mix it up together and let it sit until that gelatinous, liquid forms, and then just spread them out very thinly on a baking sheet and bake them until they're dry. And it makes a delicious cracker. Sprinkle it with a little salt. There we go. There we go. This is really a pretty cracker too. It's got lots of texture, it's got lots of color from the different colors of the different seeds, and I've got one. Okay, now then, let me wash my hands and then I'll put it in the oven. Alrighty, now then, let's put this in the oven, and we're going to bake it first for 15 minutes. Then we're going to cut it and we're going to bake it for 30 minutes more. So let's put it in for the first 15 minutes now and set our timer. Okay, now I'll be right back. Okay, it's been in the oven 15 minutes, and now I took it out so that I can run my pizza wheel through here and cut it into squares while it's only half baked. I need a new pizza wheel. This one's kind of old. And I know, they're cheap. I just forget to buy one. Maybe I better put it on the list right now. And then in 6 months, I'll go get me another one. There we go. There we go. You know what, my regular knife will be better for this too. Looky there. It just goes straight through it. Easy peasy. Okay, now let me turn it around. Do the other side, and the side, do it sideways. It's a beautiful day outside. It's cold though. It's we're having one of those April cold snaps that I hate. Means that I can't put my tomatoes out. I was going to put my tomatoes out the Monday after Easter, but we're having a freeze warning for tonight. I went through, the zone that we're in says that our average last frost date is like March 15th. But I went through and looked at Easter and to use as my my date, because the old wives' tale says don't plant before Good Friday. Well, I discovered that where I live in Texas, we've had temperatures of 32 or lower 8 years out of 13, either during Easter week, during Holy Week, or the week after Easter. So I'm still waiting to put my tomato plants out. I've got to do another video and show y'all how big my little seedlings have gotten the second go around. My first one was a failure, and so I did a new video with the second go around, but they've already gotten really big, and so by the time I put them out, they're going to be a real nice sized little plant. So I'm pretty happy about that, considering I got a late start on them to begin with. Alright, now we're going to put this back in the oven, and we're going to let it go for another 30 minutes this time. It needs its full cook this time. So we're going to set our timer for 30 minutes. I used to burn things all the time in the oven when I baked them, and it's because I didn't use a timer. Once I started using a timer, I stopped burning things. Back in a and there we are. There we go. The recipe made a full, walk over here, made a full pan of them. And as you can see, they cutting them halfway through, or just a few minutes into the bake, really helps a lot. See, they separate real easily. They're not hard to cut at all. And I baked it on a silicone, or you could use parchment. I wouldn't put them directly on the pan. I'm afraid they might stick. But anyway, this is a, what is that? This is a 12-inch wide pan. And so it made a nice big amount of them. So I hope that y'all will enjoy it. Thanks a bunch for stopping by. I'll talk to you again soon. Now I'm going to go off and make the Belgrade bread.